Hello, everybody. Welcome to Profiling Evil by Mike King. I'm here tonight with Chris McDonough, and we apologize for being a few minutes late. We just finished up with Adventures with Purpose, looking at the Randy Leach case. And boy, I hope you were over there with us watching that and listening to this heart-wrenching story. This family has for 32 years tried to find their son who disappeared at a high school graduation party. Chris, I mean, it's always an emotional thing to investigate these kinds of cases and go back. But when you watch Randy's mother, Alberta, break down with emotion 32 years later, you know how much this kid meant to that family.
Yeah, it's a every moment. I mean, you basically, I think parents get into this, phase where they just kind of live with it, but it never goes away. And thank goodness for Jared and Sam and Dan over at Adventures. Those guys are just salt of the earth, and we're grateful that we get an opportunity to call them friends and have them over here on this, on our channel over here. And so let's get them in.
Yeah, well, let's wait a minute first. Okay. We've got some new members, the Plug UK. Thank you so much for coming in and joining up with Profiling Evil. Kim K, thank you so much. Darcy Ann 66. You always bring a smile to my face when I see you pop up there. And it looks like from Europe, we've got M Stall Z. So thank you so much. We appreciate everyone in those super chats and all of your contributions and help. We may say it a few times tonight, but if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. And also ring the bell so that you can be notified when we release new information. I want to bring in now Chris, James Warlow. Thank you. Became a new YouTube member. And we're going to keep putting them up on the screen. We'll ask the back office to do that as we're talking because we don't want to get in the way of some of the things we're talking about, but we'll acknowledge those as we can. Great Ape, thank you for becoming a new subscriber to us. And if we could, let's bring in Jared from Adventures with Purpose for a moment here. Jared, we've had a pretty remarkable, we got Sam. Good. Sam, you look like you're actually in a hotel room or something rather than a boat. Where are you tonight?
No sound on Sam again.
We'll see when Sam gets with the technology figured out. We'll just shame him publicly for a moment here.
He's in a boat. It's official. You're on a boat.
And Kristen Froschizer, thank you so much for that kind donation. We're here with Adventures with Purpose. And I'll tell you what, these guys have taken a couple of old duffers under their wing. And Jared, we really appreciate it. Jared and I actually grew up in the same state. We didn't know it until I was actually driving from Las Vegas up Utah Hill, Jared. And that's the first phone call you and I had several months ago. So Miss Sophia, thank you so much for that very kind donation, and happy holidays to you and everyone out there. Jared, tell us a little bit about who Adventures with Purpose is for our subscribers, which we want them all to jump over and subscribe on your channel, and then let's bring in our guest and start talking. But I'd like you to maybe introduce everything tonight.
Yeah, first of all, we have over 800,000 subscribers now over on Adventures with Purpose. So, please quit driving people over there. We have way too many. We can't handle it. It's really about being here tonight and helping you guys out. You got 42,400 that you're up to now. We broke 40,000 with you last night.
This is so awesome.
And so, here's what I want to say is that, us coming together is because of the YouTube and the Facebook platforms, and not just the platforms, but everybody that's here tonight watching us, supporting us. None of this would be possible without you, because with those cold cases that Sam and I solved last year and our team, Adventures with Purpose, and everybody that was involved, none of it would have happened because you are part of the, team. You the viewers, and and so we don't take that lightly at all. And so we thank you for that, for being a part of Adventures with Purpose, and with Profiling Evil now coming into the fold with us to help expand what is it we're doing. That I feel like with this new collaboration that we have going on, Sam, Dan, and I, those that come out and volunteer with us while we're on the road, we are the boots on the ground and you guys better be out there soon as well with us side by side. But you guys are bringing a new perspective to this that we'd not had before, that a lot of our viewers have asked. Because for us, we're like, all right, what's the last location? Let's spread out from there and start searching these waterways. That waterways are our specialty, that we're not here to be a search team. We're here to be a water search team, particularly with a vehicle with a lead as to where we should start searching.
This is really cool, and I want to just call out Tony Tsunami. Thank you so much. Loves the AWP team. So, Sam, give everybody an impression. We'll see if you come on here in a second, but give everyone an impression what bringing Profiling Evil into the mix on your side of the fence has been like, and as you've sat back and now watched us conduct 4 or 5 hours worth of interviews, what are some of your insights?
Oh man, it's first off, it's amazing just to sit back and watch people work that are good at their craft. You guys are absolutely amazing to watch, and you guys, your perspective, your experience. Me, I'm just a knucklehead that does, all I know about is boats and water, and skill. Which like water technician work. So I applaud you guys in your efforts and the questions, and just I could already see that your mind is spinning, and it's just like you guys are like a well-oiled machine. It's just really cool to watch. Glad that that you've come, that we've connected, that we're using our skills with your skills together to do some overall good in the world. So I'm just so happy. But that's what it is. When you need the experts, you bring in the experts. We're the experts at water. You guys are the ones that put the other pieces together. So us together, here we go. Let's do some good in the world.
And it's not just the 4 of us. Coming back to what I just said. It's the viewers, because one of the viewers led us back to another one that we actually solved. A couple months ago. In addition to that I kind of touched at the very end of our show on the other one is that or maybe I did on this one. I don't know. I'm already losing track. That we have CEOs of big companies that are reaching out to us and says, we have this technology, we want to come help you out. And some of those are going to be with us there in Nashville when we head back there in January. And so for that, we're very grateful. We're very humbled that, from just being a silent viewer that's hiding in the corner, that we could make half of a cent to help fund these, the purpose that we have out here. To those that are doing the financial donations, to those that are signing up as members, whether it's on our channel or Profiling Evil's channel here, and those private donations. So everybody across the board, 100%, we appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here.
Huge teamwork.
Wow. Well, Anna Prescott, Nicole's, thank you so much for that kind donation. I missed a couple of them along the way, but we're going to continue to put them up on the screen. And again, I can't thank you enough. It really helps us continue to roll out good content. We are really looking forward to tonight. We have been looking at a number of unsolved cases with the Adventures with Purpose team. And Jared, you really threw an interesting one to us with the Williams case. Let's bring on Mrs. Williams and talk about this case.
I think she just had a device network problem, Mike. Real fast. I'm just noticing it. Yeah.
Well, okay. Then
I want to say something about these 2 guys below us also as well before she comes in. You guys are absolutely amazing. To your point, Sam and Jared, what you said. Mike and I are yin and yang. Okay, and we see the same dynamic with what you guys do. I've watched your videos. Just about all of them. I'm back into the cars when you guys first started, right? And I'm like, man, the yin and the yang, that's what it takes to solve crime and serious stuff. I can see you guys and us collectively as a group and with all the viewers, to your point, we forget, and investigators forget, that crimes aren't solved by guys like us. It is solved by citizens, and they're called witnesses. And those witnesses who say, hey, I have this, I have that, and then they apply that, they put it out in the environment, and then experts like yourselves and others get a hold of that, and then they know what to do with it. And Sam, you said it, you apply your craft, skillfully. And, what I've got to commend both of you guys. You're amazing. At what
You know,
you're-
Chris, and I don't want to lose Nick Connell on
Is she
the.
back? Okay,
I don't
I
want to
see
lose
she's
Nick
back.
Connell on the screen though, and if we can put that back up, we have talked, Jared, about this idea of, we call it public CSI, crowdsourced intelligence, and the power of being able to reach out to the community. That just a moment ago, Nick put up a note from our previous show saying, I've got the stream gauge totals for Stranger Creek for 1988, and I'll be pushing them over to you in an email tonight. That's what this is about. A few months ago, in the middle of a case up in Idaho of Ty Lee and Joshua Vallow and this Daybell goofiness, we threw out that we needed help with trying to find where Lori Daybell took these kids at Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Holy cow, a week later, we got a video where somebody had gone through hundreds of hours of video and found that family walking near one of the geysers and sent us the clip for that so that we could put it out. Today, Jared, you and I were bouncing back and forth an image where somebody thought they discovered a body on a beach, and we were talking through that. This public CSI is going to change law enforcement. It's going to change these cases that we're all involved with, and it looks like Frances is ready to roll. But I'll just push this back into your lap, and as we bring her in, maybe you could talk about that, and then introduce the case we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, you know, and that's what we keep talking about is, you know, we have several other leads that have already come in from the Randy Leach case as well, where Larry and Betty are heading out that, hey, there's what appears to be a vehicle that people are doing this detective work for us, that some of our viewers also put together a list of, 120 vehicles of people missing with their vehicles and locations and breaking them down state by state for us as well. We're just a couple. Somehow we need to put this information out there even more for other people to do what it is that we're doing. And that's starting to happen. A real movement is happening with you and Mike, Chris, with our viewers getting involved. So with that one, it's happening just like we had hoped.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let's bring Frances in, and why don't you introduce her and let's talk about this case.
Well, we never like meeting new people. That's the downside of the job that we're doing. But at the end of it, we become really close. We become friends and family, and we're just now starting our relationship with Frances here, who, that our viewers had heard about Frances's case, that told us about it, that reached out to Frances and said, Frances, you need to get a hold of them as well. And our timing just didn't line up with our previous trip. But as we circle back around, and as Sam and Dan and I get ready to go out again, this just happened to be not too far from Nashville, that we're going to be able to swing by after Nashville and go see if we can help Frances. And what we have is a Jeep Liberty, Frances's Jeep Liberty that's, missing, but not just Liberty. More important, her son is also missing. And when we dig into this case, we may have, we're looking at a 4-mile radius right now that I understand. We have a cell phone ping as to where, we know that the last cell phone ping location was at. We have go down even further. We have somebody that's actually in jail right now that took the life of somebody a day or two before, as well as a couple of lives a day or two after as well. And so Frances knows this better than anybody else. I spoke with her only one time so far on the phone. We've done a couple of text messages, but the love of a mother. I mean, we continue to see this over and over, and she's so strong. I mean, I spoke with her and she's just like, I have already accepted that my son is not coming home alive. Right now, I just want my son home, and I want those answers. And that she's out there magnet fishing anytime that she's not working. She's throwing those magnets. She's driving the road. She's looking in the water. She's, begging for help. And this is us putting this information out there that maybe somebody saw something that night that they're going to be able to help guide us in the right direction, so we can solve this one for her as well. Because when Sam and I and Dan come into town, we're going to do what we do. Here's the last location. Here's work. Here's this. Here's the lake. Here's the waters that's nearby. Let's go from there and see if we can find them.
Great. Well, Frances, as you unmute your mic, we want to welcome you aboard, and we are just so honored that you would join up with us. I think it would be best, don't you, Chris, that we just kind of let Francis tell us the story about William, and let's go through the case.
You're on mute.
You're still muted.
That's okay.
There we go. Now you're ready to go. Oh, no, we still have some technical something going on, Francis. We'll let you get a little bit of help real quick and see if we can figure out why we can't hear you right now. In the meantime, Jared, this came into you for a couple of weeks ago. Is that right? Or when did you actually learn about this case?
We first heard about it about 4 or 5 months ago. However, we'd already had our trip planned. We squoze in as many additional cases as we could along the way, and we just didn't not quite yet have enough information on this one. And so, again, more recently, about 2-3 weeks ago, I started seeing a lot more of this. And I don't know if usually when something pops up in the news, that's when we start hearing about it again. Sometimes it hits Dateline, sometimes it hits local newspapers. I don't know what may have happened at that moment in time, but suddenly we started getting a lot more information on it again.
Yeah. Well, Francis, one thing we might try is to not use your headphones, and let's see if that helps. Just go back to your regular, and she probably can't hear me now with the headphones off. So let's see if we can.
Well, let's go over the details that we know while we're waiting for Mom here for a second. And so we've got this young man, worked at Denny's, disappears, supposed to be on his way home. Francis, can you hear us now? Can you? That's all right. Go ahead into your settings. Go ahead, take your time. This is about you and your son.
Can you hear me at all?
Oh,
there we go. We got you.
Okay, you're in. So
I'm not too sure what to do.
no, that's all right.
This will be great, Francis.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Nice, Francis.
So, Francis, why don't you go ahead and just start telling us now?
Yeah, tell us about William.
Earbuds.
Hey, Francis.
I'll try Can you hear me? Oh,
Yes.
Can you
hear
can
me?
you hear?
We can
Yes.
hear you
My husband
now.
just told me you can hear me. I just can't hear you. I'm sorry. Well, I was recruited from IHOP, and so I joined the Denny's world, and then I had recruited my son. He didn't want to leave IHOP. He wanted to stay there, and I said, "Come on, I want you to come and work with me." My son started working there at Denny's, and he was there for a short time, less than a month. And he actually didn't even have his driver's license then. He was going through trying to get his driver's license. So a couple of weeks prior to him being missing, he got his driver's license. So he was very excited about it. Started letting him use my Jeep to go back and forth.
Francis, if you can hear me well enough, if you turn off your headphones, we think you'll be able to hear much better.
Put them back on?
Turn them off.
Tomorrow. Okay.
And let's see if that solves the problem.
I think if they are off.
Can you hear us? Oh, now she's gone mute. That's okay. Take your time. It's going to be a setting in her. And Tyler, maybe you can walk her through behind. The back room can walk her through her setting on her computer. Francis, what kind of computer do you have? Are you using a laptop, Windows? What do you Mac?
So let's, Chris, why don't you jump into the case a little bit and let's fill everyone in on what we do know at this point.
Yeah, so William Brian McKenzie, right, from Jackson, Tennessee, 21 years old. As Mom just said, he disappeared September 27th of 2019. He was an employee at Denny's, and it sounds like Mom recruited him over from IHOP. So I think we have to be sensitive to that piece of the puzzle, right, as we go down the road here.
Yeah.
Okay. And Francis, can you hear us yet? Okay, you can hear. Okay, she can hear us. Yeah, if you unmute now, can you unmute?
When I unmute,
Oh,
We can hear
can
you.
you hear? Can you hear us now?
I can.
Oh, good. So we can. You're in. So
I
you.
actually hear you better from my living room TV than in here, but that's fine.
Okay, so you were at you were at William comes over. William.
Wanted me to wear some earbuds, but I'm not sure if they're gonna mess up anything. You
Okay,
can hear
so
me?
William comes. Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you. William come. Oh, hey, Francis.
Waiting the earbuds, Chris, if they work, because you just turned them on and it got distorted again.
Yeah, just leave it. Whatever you're doing right now works. Don't touch anything else.
I'm so embarrassed.
No, you don't be embarrassed. This is your son, and we're here as a team to help you. Okay, you can do nothing wrong. You can do nothing wrong in this conversation tonight. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Can you hear us?
Did I put him in right? What's going to fall out?
Okay, we know what Santa Claus is going to bring you, by the way, in a couple of days.
So while Francis is working on that, I just am going to put a couple of notes that we have here. William left Denny's just after his shift at 3 p.m., Chris, and he was traveling down to meet with a guy named Keenan Murphy. And he has, of course, with him that 2006 Jeep Liberty. And that's kind of where we bring the vehicle into the mix. And I don't know if Francis, if you can hear us now, Francis, and you want to pick it up.
I actually can hear. I can hear you now. I just hear it going beep beep.
Beautiful. You sound
I think
great.
Probably gonna.
No, that's okay. So tell us a story. Tell us what you want to tell us.
My son had clocked out of work at 3 p.m. And sorry, the beep's really loud. My son clocked out at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and from what I seen on footage is he clocked out and he left, but then he had pumped some gas, and he drove across the road to the other side to next gas station, Speedway across, and got a phone call, I guess, from footage of his car going into the next gas station across the street. It only took like a minute, and he drove right back out the way he drove in. And guess he got a text or phone call, and from his phone log, and from my understanding, he got that call from the person who wanted him to come over to his house. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes,
yeah, Francis, don't even worry about your ears. We can hear everything you're saying. Why don't you walk through the story, and then we'll come back with some questions, or we'll schedule another time to do questions.
He clocked out and he left. He went to that friend's house. I guess he asked him to come over, and he went over to his house. He was sitting on his porch, and from there, I guess there was another male on the porch there with him, with this boy when they showed up over there.
Then what happened?
These things are not staying in my ear.
It's okay.
And when he was there, he was, I guess, hanging out for a little while, and other people, they seen him there because they brought it to my attention. And I read a lot of texts that were sent to me also, and from the person that he went to his house. that he was invited by him. And when he was there, they hung out on the porch, and they do what boys do. They do their stuff, hang out, do boy stuff. I guess my son had asked if he had marijuana, and the boy said yes, he wanted him to come over and he would give him some. So my son went over there, and I guess he smoked with him, and then they were hanging out on the porch for a while. There's other drugs you have to worry about than just smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
I did have a problem with it a lot of times with any of that, marijuana, everything. I don't even like taking Tylenol, but it happens. So, that day my son hung out. I guess the other person asked for a ride home. He went to Sean's house. Keenan Murphy was on the porch. Keenan Murphy asked for a ride. Keenan Murphy got that ride, and my son disappeared from there. My son did not show back up for work the next day. And I was wondering why he didn't show up. The next morning, I woke up, I walked around the front of the house, and I didn't see the Jeep in the driveway. And so I said, why isn't the Jeep in the driveway? I opened up the bedroom door, and I looked inside of his room, and I seen all his stuff wasn't touched. I saw his man bag was sitting on his bed along with his shoes. He's so organized. You can tell what's used, what's not. I didn't see his uniform anywhere. I see his charger on the bed. His bed was not slept in. Jeep's gone. So I got to work, and the first one I spoke to was the boy, Sean, that he's my third shift server. I said, Sean, you were with my son yesterday. Where's my son? I said, I heard you were with my son yesterday. Where's my son? And I said, the server told me that you were with my son. And he's like, yeah, he was at my house. He hung out for a while. I said, okay, Sean, he didn't come home last night. I don't know what's going on. I feel like something is wrong. My son didn't show back up home. And his first words were, oh, he probably went out and he got, so he's a boy. Probably went out, got some booty. He did. He went out and partied or whatever. I said, no, that's not my son. My son doesn't go out and have booty. My son has a girlfriend, and he's very faithful to her. And that's not my son's way, and he's never late to work. He comes straight back home from work, and he was scheduled that day at 8 o'clock. Sean told me that if I just waited, then he would help me, look for my son. So don't worry, just to be patient, just wait. Everything was gonna be okay. I go, no, something feels wrong. He's not there. So when 8 o'clock came around and he didn't show up for work, I knew something was wrong. I started getting nervous, and he said, do me a favor, just, don't call the police, don't do anything, just wait for me, try to get a manager to watch your shift, and then I'll go out searching with you. And I said, where is he, Sean? He didn't come home last night, and he was with you. Everybody's saying that he was with you. And he said he went home. I know he went home. He was complaining about anxieties, something about his heart was bothering him, and he was having anxieties, something about his medication, and he wanted to go home. I said, was he by himself? He said, yes, he was by himself. We were hanging out on my porch all by ourselves. Nobody else was there. I said, are you sure? He swore up and down, yes, calm down. He called me mama, because that's the way I had my employees. They call me mom because I was always strict at work with my mother. 8 o'clock ran around, like I said, and he was nowhere to be found. Did not show up. It was the 28th. I called the police department, and I reported him missing. And I spoke to Officer Ingram. That was on September 28th, 2019. But I didn't want to tell Sean that I had already, made that police report, because I had a feeling that if I told him that I had made that police report, he's not going to help me, with my son, find my son, because I knew he knew where my son was. I kept texting Sean through the day, back and forth, saying, have you heard from him? He said he had called the hospitals, he's called the jail, that I need to calm down, everything's going to be okay. He probably fell asleep, he probably got drunk or really high somewhere, and he didn't realize his phone was not charged and it just died. And he's going to call at any time. It's not true. The last calls were from myself and from Sean. Sean was first, and then I had called my son, and then my son called me back, and I had 41 seconds to speak to my son. Sean called him at 3:25. They spoke for 21 seconds, 3:25. And then I had called him, and we spoke for 41 seconds. And that was at 5:32. That was the last time I spoke to my son, and that was on the 27th. And he was telling me, it was weird because he was telling me, Mom, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I was like, I know it's going to be okay. Are you on your way home? Because I need you to come home. Because I was going through a lot myself. Somebody really close to me that was like mom to me, she was on deathbed and they were going to pull the plug. So I was speaking to my son about that. And he was telling me just to be strong, that just to work hard, and everything was going to be okay. That was I believe that was in the middle of his shift that day at 1 something.
No,
No,
you just
we lost you now.
dropped off.
Can
You
you
just
hear me?
dropped off. Yeah.
Now
you're
we
back.
can. Good.
Okay, because it keeps trying to fall out. I'll just hold him. I knew something was wrong with my son because
If you can take your hands off of the earphones, you won't get, we can't hear you when you have your fingers on the earphones.
it's just they're gonna fall out.
There you go, right
I'm
there.
sorry.
That's
I
good.
guess this is
No,
good.
you're
If I hold them
you're
like
doing
this-
swell. This is great. Don't worry a bit about it.
Alright, it's just my husband's ears, I guess, are bigger lobes or bigger holes than mine, and they're just trying to push out of the tiny little things I have on my face.
But that's okay.
Well, it's hard. I'm trying to go back in time and to remember what was going on, and I spoke to my son on the 27th, and he was telling me everything was going to be okay, but he was telling me like, Mom, it's going to be all right, don't worry. I was like, what's going to be all right? Why are you telling me this? I know it's going to be okay. I need you to come home. He goes, yes, Mom, I'm on my way home. I'll be home. I want to tell you I love you. I said, I love you too. And I said, what's wrong, Brian? And he said, nothing. I just want to tell you I love you, and I'm going to be home. I said, where are you? He said, I'm not that far from home. I'm going to be home. Okay, just calm down, relax. Everything is going to be all right. I said, okay, but I really need you to come home already, okay? Because I know you're out of work already. You should be home already. He said, yes, Mom, I'm going to be home. Don't worry. I love you. He said, I love you a couple of times. And he didn't come home. According to his phone records, his phone shut off. This person knows that my son didn't leave by himself. The employee started talking, telling me, Francis, I just need, the manager called me and told me, Francis, so-and-so wants to talk to you. They have something to tell you. So I went to that person, and he said, Francis, there was a really bad person on the porch. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, where your son was. Your son, you really need to know who the person was. I said, who is the person that was on the porch? He said, it was Keenan Murphy. I said, Keenan Murphy. He like he's not a very good guy, Francis. Sean's lying to you. He was on the porch. He was not the only one on the porch. Your son was there, and it's not good. Got in the car with someone. So Sean knows more than what he's saying to you, and he knows that he left with someone. So I had asked Sean about it, and Sean continuously told me that no, my son left by himself. He said, I'm going to give you my address, get somebody to get your shift. I called my manager in, my manager took over, and then I had went to Sean's house, and he took me driving around. I noticed he kept looking down into the creeks, down on the side of the Jeep. I go, why are the inside of my car? I told him, why are you looking down at everything? You know, we're searching. What are you thinking? He said, nothing. I'm just looking for tire marks or something. Maybe the car would go off. I said, well, we would see a car if we're driving, and it would be right here on the side of the road. He was looking down into like the creeks. So when I was in my car, I thought it was smart to just keep asking some questions, you know, about the day, of what they were doing, who was at the house. Still, nobody was at the house. It was just him, and they were smoking. And Brian had left. I said, which way did he go? He said that he went home, and I said, but why are we turning right? We live left. He said, look, just I'm taking you places that I know of that maybe he could have went a shortcut. It's a different way to your house. I go, okay. So as we're driving, I'm asking him questions about my son, and did he know that if he had any plans? Was he drunk? Was he high? Was he, everything. Started telling me that he was supposed to make this rap music video or something like that, and told me a person that he was supposed to be doing this with. So I picked my phone up while I was in the car, and I called that person. And I said, do you know anything about Brian doing a rap video? And he said, what? And I said, yes, you're going to do a rap video with my son. He goes, Mama, that's another employee that I employed at IHOP. He said, I don't listen to that kind of music. I listen to church music. So whoever's telling you this is not telling you the truth. And I said, okay, that's all I needed to know. So I put my phone down and hung up, and I said, I think it's time for me to take you home, Sean. And then he said, why? I said, because I don't feel good right now, and I need to take you home. I need to find my son. He said, you have to promise me something. And I said, what? He said, you promise me that you're not going to call the cops. I said, why do I have to promise you? Why do I have to promise you not to call the cops? He said, because I won't. I said, what? I had to ask him several times because I couldn't understand what he was saying. He says, because I won't. I said, you have a warrant? He said, yes. So I said, Sean, you have a warrant. What do you know about my son? You don't want to be in trouble for something because you want to tell me something because you have a warrant. My son is missing right now. You need to tell me what's going on. He goes, I'm telling you everything that I know. He was at the house. We chilled on my porch. We smoked a little bit. I said, what did you smoke? He's like 1 or 2 blunts, he said. I said, okay. And after that, he left. I said, how could you let him leave if he smoked that much? He was not capable. I mean, how can anybody smoke? Would you guys drink anything? I said, no. He said he's fine. The only thing that he was upset about was when he was backing out of the driveway, and he got stuck onto something on my fence, and he thought you were going to be mad because he did something to the Jeep. But if you look, there's nothing to get stuck on at his house off of the fence of the front of his yard. There is absolutely nothing. It's just a fence, and it's a big driveway. So I didn't believe that at all. It just
So Francis,
I dropped him off, and he said, yes.
If you can just keep barely touch the earphones, because the more you push, the less we're able to hear. Yeah, I think it's just, no, it's, It's just a little bit goofy, and don't worry about that, because what we're going to do is once we get a little bit of information, we're going to set up an opportunity to talk with you and record it so that we can let all the viewers know the story in a very clear way where they can hear you real well. So tonight's just a chance for us to get to know you and know the story. So don't feel any pressure at all. And know that we can hear you really well, even if you're not hearing us, as long as you're kind of keeping your fingers away from the earphones.
So you can hear me now? Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe I
just
don't
barely.
know.
Try pulling your fingers away from the earphones.
Okay.
You're doing great.
Okay, let's try it.
I took him home and I dropped him off, and I had to go straight to the police department. I went straight to the police department, and I told the police that I had him in my car and he was around my son last, and I told them the story, and they said, okay, you stay right here, you do not move, you sit right there. And I sat right at the police department, and they went and they arrested him.
No, we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
They left and arrested him. They left her there and they arrested him.
Yeah. And Francis, please don't feel any pressure. This is okay. It's just kind of one of those goofy technical things. So yeah, maybe take one hand off of your ear and let's see what happens. Oh, that's what happens. So what if you just if you talk without the earphones in for a minute and tell the rest of the story? Can you do that?
I don't even know where the speaker is on this. Can you hear me?
That is okay, Francis, and Jared, Sam, Chris. I think the best thing would be we'll let Tyler in the back office in the next couple of days figure out with Francis. We'll get through Christmas, and maybe next week we can bring her back on and go through this in detail. But that will give Chris and me some opportunity also to review the case in more detail with her independently. What do you think, Francis? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? No?
It's really quiet. Yeah,
It's
for you.
Oh, right there. Right there.
I really don't. I'm so sorry.
No. Put the earphones in front of your face and just tell us the story. Let's see if it works. We'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah, your fingers covering the microphone is what's going on that.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right there. Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So you tell the rest of the story just like that. Don't do anything different.
I went to the police station. I let them know that I had this person in the car, and he drove me around telling me stories about my son, and that he was going to help me find him, and just had me just driving around, and I didn't even know where I was. I was going out Oakfield area, and I pretty much felt like I was lost. And him already letting me know that, not to call the police, and then telling me that it's something about a rap video and everything that was going on. And I call a person that he mentioned to me, and that person tells me that it's not true. I was in disbelief. My son didn't even discuss any kind of rap video with me. My son was into selling clothing and, designing and stuff like that. And he would buy stuff offline, and online he would order things, and then he would sell them to people, stuff like that. That's what he would do. And he was really proud of what he did, because he was trying to create his own little business of selling clothing. Anyways, I dropped him off. I told the police told me stay right there. They went, they arrested him, took him to jail, and from there they questioned him and did a polygraph and stuff like that on him that I heard of or heard that they did with him. I wasn't there, so I don't know what's true and what's not. I don't know what questions were asked. I just know that I was lied to, and I was told that my son left alone from that house. Then after his lie detector tests, it all came out that yes, he in fact left with this person that had shot two Hispanics 2 days before my son went missing on the 25th of September. He shot one in the head and he shot the other one in the face. One of them got reconstruction on his jaw and the other one was shot in the head and he was in a coma and he died very slowly. He was only able to blink his eyes in the hospital to answer questions I heard. One of my employees knew him very well. She was actually related. And then a week later, he shot and killed Thomas Curry Jr., Thomas Curry Sr.'s son. And he shot Vincent Reed in the hand where he had reconstruction on his hand. He wasn't caught until that time where they found him with the gun that he used to do all his killing sprees. So the only difference between my son and these individuals were my son was by himself. He got paid on that Friday. He had a vehicle. This person's obviously on the run. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I do know that my son was an easy target. He was asked to come over to a house, and then there's a person there that had killed someone already 2 days before, and he's obviously on the run. My son has a vehicle, and he's just too nice and too trustworthy, and he felt that he could trust because he was at his friend's house, and his friend trusted the fact that it was going to be okay. His friend didn't say, no, don't leave with him. You know, he's not a good guy or anything like that. And I don't know what they were capable of doing. I don't know what the plan was. I don't know if it was a setup. I don't know anything. All I know is that right after he talked to me, his phone shut off. And
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at. So when people ask me all the time when I'm searching, they think that I'm just this crazy woman and I need to get over it and give myself some closure and relax and pray and let God do his work and hand him the wheel. Well, you know, it's easy to say that. It's easy for them to say that. I used to be scared of spiders. I mean, now I catch myself in the woods and I'm going up against snakes crawling around and everything. And I tell these people that this is my son and I'm not going to give up because I have no family out here. This is Tennessee. I'm from California. My son's from California, Orange County, California. And I brought my children here to Tennessee so that they can live a better life. And, you know, I thought it was going to be better for them. I loved the trees. I would talk to the trees, you know, the nature for 4 seasons. But I'm in one of those scary movies that I never wanted to watch. I'm looking for my son in the woods, and someone knows where he's at, and they don't want to tell. And it could be more than one person, and they think it's okay to sleep at night. Well, it's not. It's hard to sleep. I work. I'm the sole provider for my family. My husband's a stay-at-home dad. He's been that for years, and I try to keep it together. And if I were to go completely insane and just block everything out or just shut down, then not only is my son not going to have anyone out there looking for him or keeping his name alive, because there's I don't know, and the worst thing is that I don't know if he is dead or alive, but I'm not dumb. And I know who he was with. I know what that person was capable of. If I shut down, then my kids won't have anyone, and my son will not have anyone, and I just need to keep going. I had like 15, 20 searchers, and due to the pandemic, it didn't make it easy, for them to fear a possible, getting their family sick and everything, and everything being shut down. The mayor was really nice to consider my son essential so that I can continue to search, because if not, I would have been put in jail or ticketed, because I'm out in the woods. But if people don't understand, being out in the woods, it's probably safer for you, because you're getting all that clean air and oxygen that, everybody should be walking out there. But they're too busy, cross-contaminating and keep on going to restaurants like the one I work at, and just try to keep everything clean. I'm trying my hardest to explain everything the best that I can without breaking down and crying right now, because I miss my son so badly, and I've been begging for help, not only from God, but from society, this whole community, social media. I didn't never have a tweet before. Now I have tweet, and I'm going on YouTube, and I'm just trying to share all the information that I can possibly share. I get threatened that I'll be gagged, because if I mention names, or if I tell what's not true and what's not believable, and accuse people of this and accuse people of that, well, you know what? I'm not accusing anybody. This is what happened. My son left work. He was somewhere. He went to the dollar store. He called me. This is the vehicle he was in. And this person asked my son for a ride. And he shot and killed someone on September 25th. And he shot and killed someone again on October 4th. Then arrested. 4.2 mile radius where he got back on his phone or internet or whatever he did in 48 minutes from my son's phone being turned off, getting checked into another motel. In all reality, he didn't have 48 minutes with my son. He didn't get caught until October. So he had an entire week in that 48 minutes to do what he had to do with my son and with my Jeep that I lent my son. I gave my son when he got his license. It's his best friend. He considered a friend, and he trusted. And this one said this one wasn't with him. It just doesn't make any sense.
Can you put an earpiece in now?
I have maps. I have locations. There is another young, 5 men, actually 5 boys at the same time. All were missing at the same time as my son, along with Aaron Young. Aaron Young was also one of the boys that went missing.
So Francis, can you put your
ear
ear
down the street from my house in Mosey Creek? Who knows if Keenan had met him?
Can you put Francis, can you put your earpiece back in for a moment?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you okay. I'm sorry.
No, I want you to know something. We are so touched. And the Adventure with Purpose folks, Sam and Jared on the line with me and Chris, want to commit to you that we're going to look deeper into this, and we're going to at least do the little bit we can to help you really keep this in the public eye. Because the connection's bad, I want you to know that I've been reading some of the comments from people who are listening, and they are overwhelmed at your strength, your clarity, your ability to explain what's going on. And what Chris and I would like to do is set up a time with you next week, have Tyler in the back office figure out your sound, and then we're going to record with you and review the entire case with you and put it together in a way that we can really broadcast it. And then we will ask all of our friends who are creators in the true crime community to share the same story and help you get this out, including we'll ask the public to start sending as much information as we can. I just want you to know your story is so compelling, and your drive and your love as a mom is just incredibly compelling, and we're there for you. And if you get anything out of this Christmas season, know that we're going to put what resources we have, somewhat limited, to try to help you get some answers. I want Chris to take a moment, share any thought he has about this while you can hear us, and then Jared, and then with your permission, we'll just set up a time next week to talk through this in detail.
Francis, you did great. Can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You did great. And this is just the first step, okay, like Mike just said. And what part of Orange County are you from?
Orange.
Okay.
Orange County.
Okay, so right near Knott's Berry
Where
Farm?
that's at.
Yeah, I did
Like
my,
2 minutes from Disneyland.
yeah, I know where you're at. I know where you're at.
Stadium's like in your backyard.
Yeah. No, I did my career in Southern California, so I know exactly where you're at. So here's what I'd like to ask you to do. Just like Mike said, this is a time for you just to kind of breathe for a little bit as well. We just want to make sure that mom's okay and that you're tracking correctly. We're grateful that you're as strong as you are. But as the next couple of days come together here, they're going to be difficult, right? With the holidays and all the other pressures of the stresses of you looking for William. Okay, so let's do this. Like, yeah, no worries. So we're going to regroup, but until that time, I'm just going to give you one word, okay? And that word. And can you look at me for a sec? There you go. Okay. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Breathe. You take a deep breath. Okay. And over the next couple of days, when you start feeling the stress, okay, I want you to remember that word and then look at your husband, give him a hug, love your family, and then we're going to regroup with you next week. Okay. Jared, Sam.
Yeah, here's what I want to say is that I want to see if we can prove the power of all of this. Like I said, in the beginning, this is not about Sam and I. This is not about, Mike and Chris. This is about us using these platforms to get this message and the word out as to what we have going on, not just with Francis, but across the entire U.S. So here's what I would love to see happen. I would love to see this actually solved in the next day or two, or, before the end of the year. Because Sam and I, we can't drive across the U.S. right now. We have other obligations. We have this trip set. But guess what? I know that Mike Bishop is over there in Nashville. I know that Jacob Grubbs is up there just north of you. I know that, we have several other divers and people that are within a couple of hours of your area. Don't wait for us. I mean, let's see if we can actually find your son in the next 48 hours, in the next, week or two, is what I would really love to see, to continue this movement and this effort. That if you are a fisherman, if you have a boat of any sort, a John boat or whatever in Jackson, Tennessee, and you have access to sonar, here's a lake that I want you to head over to. What's the name of the lake at Cotton Grove Road? Lake Graham, Brown Creek. Lake Graham.
Lake Graham?
Yeah. So, so that's kind of the extended outer of this 4-mile radius. Take a look at where Denny's is there in Jackson. Take a look at Lake Graham. What access points do you have to drive into? You have the, you can jump on Google, take a look at the actual maps here. Where can a vehicle be driven into? There's Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agencies right there. Looks like there's a boat ramp there. put the sonar on there. So I'm calling to all of you, solve this. Don't have Sam and I do it. Please do it before we get there.
Yeah.
Jared, that's great. Before Sam jumps on, I just want to ask the back office to put up the link to the evidence room. Folks, we have something that we call the evidence room. If you go to profilingevil.com, there you can submit information, and we can take that information and start to get it out to the right people, including law enforcement. But if you know something specific, immediately call the police department or the sheriff's office and share that information. But the evidence room is a great place to start putting the links together to help us as we help Francis in putting this case together. And like Jared said, this crowdsourced intelligence that you are the boots on the ground for, it really does make a difference. And these things are going to be solved in the trenches, not on YouTube. Sam?
Absolutely. First off, Francis, thank you for reaching out to us to begin with. All of us, we're here for you. My heart goes out to you. I'm just blown away, to even be sitting here having this conversation with you and with the group of men. Just knowing that this is bigger than just us. Just like Jared said, this doesn't have to be done by us. I mean, this can be done by you, the viewer. If you guys know the area, we don't know the area. I'm from the Seattle area. Jared's from Oregon. If you know the area, if you know the story, if you're there before us, please, please, please solve it. Please give this mother some closure. Give her a peace of mind. Let's bring her baby home. That's all I got.
Yeah, and with that, just touching on this some more. I mean, there are fishermen in the area. There are fishermen in the area with boats. Get them over there at Fairgrounds Park. I'm looking at 2 or 3 different ponds over there. Looks like that back one off of Anderson Branch Road could be deep enough. Anyway, just start at Denny's and go 4 miles out from there. What bodies of water? Get in those bodies of water, and let's see if we can find a vehicle. Because, Francis, I believe that you also told me that heading over the lake that they found another vehicle and they pulled that out. And I can't remember. Did you say that vehicle had a body in there as well? Can she hear me?
Yes, off Lake Graham.
Yeah, Lake Graham.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's silent, but yeah.
Lake Graham. There was, I guess they pulled out a vehicle from there that was underwater for like over 10 years or something like that.
And was there a body in there?
And that was one of the areas that I actually walked. I believe so.
Well, that's great. So, Francis, if you could also, I see you've got a map in the background that you've been working on. If you can start collecting information, the back office will get a hold of you and give you a link to start uploading any police reports you have, the pictures of your flyers. Take a photograph of that map and send it to us so that we can start putting some things together. Chris and I will, in the next couple of days, start going through all of the media reports that we can find, and then we'll get on the phone with you next week to start tying the pieces together, and we'll figure out as much as we can. Then we'll bring back the Adventure with Purpose people, and together we'll talk about what we think might be some good next steps between now and the time that they get out there. And wouldn't it be wonderful if somebody finally gets the courage to step up and, just like the challenge Jared's given us, perhaps find that little golden nugget that helps solve this before spring comes, so that you don't have to wait.
Yes,
Yeah, and if not, I mean, we're going to be there, in January regardless. So, we're going to be on this if it doesn't get solved before then. So that way, Sam and I, based upon our information, what we know, we're going to clear every body of water that we can within the area so that we can, give a definitive answer. Whether it's the answer we're looking for or it's the answer of where we need to take it from there.
Absolutely.
Francis, anything you'd like to say?
Is getting permission to get on anybody's land. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
The only problem that we're having, I wish people could just bear with me, is giving us permission to get on their land to search, because that's the only problem that we're having right now, is that they're not giving us permission to get on their land to search through the woods that they don't even know that. I mean, they don't even go in there and look. So I wish that they would just have the consideration, just have the heart to know when I give them the flyer and we ask them if we could please search, if they could just let us search, let us look. There's so much they don't have to do it. I could do it, and whoever's with me can do it. It's just that's the only problem, is people don't let us get on their land. Most of them.
You know, and I just want to say a quick thing about that with what Jared said and what Sam and Mike. So the other piece of that puzzle is if anybody in that area has access to drones, okay, get hold of Francis and see if you can get some drone work up there, Francis, to fly over the type of properties that you can't see. Okay, if you stay, 300-400 feet above, some of those DJI drones are pretty powerful right now, and it might not necessarily you'll penetrate through the treetops as a whole, but you may see other things out there that could, potentially be anomalies that would be very interesting to when the rest of the team gets out there to start,
This is the perfect time of year to do that.
Yeah, to do that right now, where the trees have no leaves on them and stuff. So that was it. Mike, that was all from me and Jared. Sam. I did have one other thing. I'm sorry. Chris. Is there anything we haven't asked you that you think is important to tell this audience that will help you? Is there anything you haven't said that you want to say? What will you leave us with?
Can you hear me? Please, if you know something, anonymously, and my son, because my son was good to all of you. Good kid. Very honest, very loving, very funny and smart. And just, please bring him home. Please help me bring him home. Say something. Say something, please.
That's a beautiful plea from a mother, folks. We would ask you, send your information to the evidence room. If you are from the area there, start thinking about how you might be able to help. And we'll bring Francis back in the next couple of days and have a sit down and discuss. And then we'll put out a recording that actually we can guarantee that the quality of sound will be good. We'll fix whatever the challenges that we're facing here. If you want to be notified when that comes out, please hit the subscribe button and make sure that you're ringing the bell so that you get the notifications on it. To Jared and Sam from Adventures with Purpose, again, we are honored that you would invite us to join up with you in helping this amazing woman. And we wish you, Francis, and your family the sweetest of holidays, that you might find some peace while you go through this, knowing that there are people that care and that are backing you up, and we'll do what we can to help you. And to everyone, we wish you a wonderful holiday season. We'll see you Monday night for choir practice, and we'll try to give an update at that time on when we plan on meeting with Francis. So until then, thanks so much. Good night.
Good night.
All right, guys.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you, Francis.
Bye-bye.